Hello everyone and welcome. So today we're going to create this Pomodoro application using React.js. So in simple words, it's just a countdown timer application which provides you like a stopwatch countdown timer where you can add your own duration and then that countdown timer will start. You can also have short breaks in between. We have the tab for short breaks as well as I've added another one with this which is for the long breaks. You can just start the timer by pressing this button and you can pause it. So let me give you a quick demo of the application. So by default it is set to 12 seconds. So let me try to speak something to you in 12 seconds. So this will run till the seconds are over and then it will be stopped. So this is how this is going to be, and you can also pause it by this pause button. You can see our timer has stopped, and if you want to resume it again you can just click on the start button again. So it will start and you can see pause, start. So once it is over it will set to 0, and you can set your own time interval as well. You can go to the settings tab and maybe you want to set 1 minute, so just press 1. This is second and this is millisecond, so you can just see set timer and you can just start. So you can see our timer has been successfully started, and this will go on till the 1 minute is over. You can pause it, you can start it, you can take a short break in between. Maybe 6 seconds is a short break, and then there is a long break of I guess 30 seconds. So let me go to the long break of 30 seconds and I will start. So this will go on till 30 seconds, and when I go back to work, so it will start again from uh, 1 minute. So this is how it is going to be, and we'll be using React.js for everything, and we'll be using context API to pass the data from one component to another. So global context we'll be using, and one more important thing is that we'll be using an external package, npm package, which is the React countdown timer. So we'll be using that, so we'll learn how to install it and how to use it and implement it in our project. So that is what we'll be writing css from the scratch. So that is also we are going to learn. So I hope you all are as excited as I am. So see you in the next one. Okay, so here we are in the VS Code, and we got the NPM setup, we got the Node.js setup, and we also got the Visual Studio Code setup. And if you don't have that installed, you have to go to this just Google and you can just type how to install NPM and Node.js on your computer. Basically, you need to just go to the nodejs.org website, and from there you need to download the installer, and that installer will download the installer, and that installer will install Node.js and NPM on your computer. After that, you need to just download the VS Code setup and install it on your computer. The installation process is similar to any software installation process in the world, just straightforward, self-explanatory. And after that you need to head towards the Visual Studio Code, and then what you need to do is just go to this terminal tab right here. Don't worry about what you are seeing on the screen right now. You might be seeing completely different thing, no worries with that. So what you need to do is you need to just go to this terminal tab right here and click on new terminal, and it will open a terminal. Now what you need to do is you need to first check if you got the npm and node.js in order. So you need to check the version. So there will be a command which is the no npm and version. So this will display the version of npm, and if it's installed then only it will display, otherwise it will not. So that is purely an indication that npm is installed on my computer. Next we're gonna look at the node.js. So node hyphen hyphen version, and version spelling is wrong, so let me type it again. So this is how sorry, hyphen hyphen, and you can see node is installed on my computer. So that's all we were looking for. Now don't worry if your terminal looks different than me, because I am using WSL and this is an Ubuntu terminal. Probably chances are high that you might be using command prompt, because that comes in built with the if you're using VS Code on Windows, so that will be command prompt obviously. But I've installed WSL and this is the Ubuntu terminal, so no worries with that. Don't panic, the commands will be exactly same, there's no difference at all. Okay, so moving on, next let us install our React project. Now what is a React project? React project is like a starting code given to us by React. So you need to just install it. There will be node modules and other stuff which will help us starting off with the project. Before without that you cannot start off. So you need a scratch. scratching like a part. So React project is that one project, so you need that installed. So for that you need to type this one simple command, that is the npx create hyphen react hyphen app and space, and then the name of the application which you want to give. So in this case we'll give Pomodoro, but you want to give another name, you are totally free to give any other name you want. But remember, there should not be any spaces in the name, it's purely a string, but there's no spaces. Okay. uh, so that is what so let us give a name. So that is the Pomodoro. So this is the name of the application. Now what it will do, it will create a directory with this name, and inside the directory our project will reside, and the project's name will also be same. So after typing this out, you need to just press enter, and then you need to wait for another 5 to 6 minutes, or maybe 2 minutes, or even 10 minutes. Completely random thing, totally depends on the processing power of your PC and the internet speed of your connection. So that is what you need to do. Don't panic if it takes a little longer, it will take a little longer, and just assume it will take 10 minutes, that's it. And then you need to just open that folder up with the VS Code. So I am not doing the installation because I've already done that, because it takes a little time, so I've already done it. So after doing the installation, what you need to do is open up that folder using VS Code or the Visual Studio Code. Now once you have opened that folder with the Visual Studio Code, things will look something like this. So let me explain you the folder structure. So folder structure is something like this on the left. Now the very first folder, don't bother looking at it, it's just created by the VS Code, we have not created it. Next we have the node modules folder, don't you dare touch this folder, this is nothing to do with our like customization, this is given to us by React. So don't touch this folder, don't delete this folder, don't alter this folder at all. Next we have the public folder, in which we have other things like any other images we want to display publicly, any other anything we want it to be public. So here basically there is only one file which is useful, that is the index.html, and this is the file which will be responsible for rendering your application in the browser. So this is the title, you can give any title you want. So let me just give the title of Pomodoro. So this is the title we gave. Now this will be the title which will be shown in the status bar of the browser at the top. So this is what it is useful for, nothing else. You can just close it. Next you can just close this public folder, you don't need to touch it now. Now comes the folder of use, which is the source folder or the src folder. Now 99% of the time we'll be working on this folder only. We'll be altering, changing, adding files to this folder only. So remember, this is the most useful folder. So inside of this there will be some other files and folders like report web vitals, test.js, and some other logos and all. So we don't need them, so just go ahead and delete them. But remember, don't delete these files. So accept these files, whatever is there, just delete them, no problem with that. You need to make your folder structure look like mine. So after you are done with the cleaning up of the files and folders, what you need to do is you need to open app.js. And once you open app.js, there will be some other extra line of code, so which you don't need anymore, like import report vitals, and in below also exports will be there. So just clean that code up and keep it as simple as it is. So it should be like this, just an import, just an export, and just a return function, that is it. Only three things should be there, nothing else should be there. So go ahead and make your app.js look like this, and then we'll continue with the next one. So I hope you have done the cleaning part and all of the code. So once you're done, let me just tell you how to start off the server and how to see the changes which you make inside the IDE on the browser. So for that you need to spin up the server. Now how you will spin up the live server? So in HTML CSS we simply use an extension called live server, but here this is not the case. We will spin up the server using a command. So first of all, just go to the folder or the directory where our project is residing. So navigate to that folder. So in my case, that is projects and Pomodoro, and then hit enter, and you can see what are the contents inside by the ls command or the list command. You can see the files and folders are exactly the same which are present here. So now what you need to do after coming to this particular folder, what you will do is you will just type this command, which is the npm space start. And after typing this command, what you need to do is just hit enter, and it will take few seconds if you are doing it for the very first time. Otherwise it will just take 2 or 3 seconds, not more than that. So after that is done, there will be a url given to us, which will show us on where this project is running. So you can see our server is started off. Now let me tell you where it will be running. So our like project will be running on a particular port at the local host. Now the port basically which is generally given by the React as a default is the port 3000. You can see it is shown to us inside the terminal that a local host 3000 and on the network. So this is just a local host address, and port number is 3000. Now what you can do is you can just copy this whole url, or you can just go to your browser and open up localhost on port 3000, and you will be able to see changes on your screen. So let me just show you how you can do that. So let me come here to the browser, and it till now it might have opened up the server. So you can see our server has been started here, and we can see the changes on the screen. You can see the title has changed to Pomodoro, which we changed in the index.html, and currently the page is fully empty. Why? Because we have not added anything to it. So let me just add something and show it to you so that we get confirmed that our app is running successfully. So we will write Pomodoro application by react.js. So let me save it, and now if I go to the browser, I should see the changes on the browser. So I am here on the browser, and boom guys, you can see Pomodoro application with React.js. It is running successfully on the browser, and that simply means that our project is working fine, and we have successfully installed React.js and successfully installed npm Node.js. Everything is running, and the changes are being reflected on the browser. So that is a clear indication that the things are going pretty well so far. Now what we'll do is we'll create separate components like this. We'll create this clock component, the buttons component, and the header component, and all of that we'll be doing in the next coming videos. So we'll also be installing a package which is used for this. So don't worry, things will go on smoothly. We'll learn step by step everything. So see you in the next video, where we will be doing all of this remaining stuff, like installing that react countdown timer package and creating the context api, and all of those things will be done in the next video. Okay, so here we are in the VS Code, and now we'll start building and actually coding things up. So the very first thing which we'll be building is the buttons, like the buttons of timer and break and long break and short break and start and stop. All of the buttons will be there in one component basically, and we'll be reusing those that particular component multiple times. So like we'll create just one button and make it dynamic, so that other components can use that particular button, and not only just one time. That particular button will be used a number of times. Like whatever the buttons which you see on screen is actually not one is not actually like different buttons. We'll not write code like multiple times to create multiple buttons. We'll just write one time, we'll create one button, and then we will be reusing that particular button multiple times. So that is what we are going to do. So let us just go ahead and do it. So the very first thing which we need to do is we need to create a folder inside the src or the source. Now what is the name of the folder is the components. So that is the components folder, not components, it is components. Yeah. Now inside this components folder we'll create all of the components like buttons, the timer and all. So the very first thing which we are going to create is the button. So here, after opening this, when the arrow, this arrow comes down, so now what we'll do is we'll create that particular component inside this components folder. So let us open it up, and now we'll create a file. Now that file will be button.js or button.jsx. You can write anything you want, but JSX like completely signifies that this is a React file. But JS, obviously JS, a JavaScript file, anything can be written inside. But React is smart enough to know that if you are creating a JS file inside a React project, so that simply means that it is a JSX file. There's no like argument in that. Okay, so let me hit enter, and now we have got the file. Now we want to we want the like general code which is similar to all of the components. So to get that code, we will use an extension. We'll make help we'll make use of an extension. So let me just tell you which one is that. The very first thing is that you need to go to extensions, and then you can just install this one right here. This is a very handy, helpful application. This will make your life so much easier. So this extension is called ES7 React Redux GraphQL React Native Snippets. What it will do, it will just give you the basic code which is similar, repetitive code which is used in multiple components and multiple times. So you don't need to type it out every single time. You can just make use of this extension and type some keywords, and it will give you that particular line of code or piece of code or the snippet. Okay, now so once you've installed this extension, you can go to the component which you would like to make use of this extension. So after coming here, what we'll do is you will just type RFCE. Now what this RFCE means, React Functional Component with Export. E means export. Now it will work for you probably, but it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me for some reason. I don't know why. So what I do is I press Ctrl Shift P and I open this snippet search. This is the part of that extension only, ES7 snippet search. I click on that and then I type here the exact same thing, RFCE. You can see it's written here, creates a React functional component with ES7 module system with an export. Okay, now when you click on it, boom, you see the snippet. Now whatever was there like RFCE, React functional component, you can see there's a functional. So this is a functional component with an export. So down you can see there's an export. So RFCE, React functional component with export. So don't need to memorize it, just understand the like what it stands for, then you don't need to memorize it anymore. Now after getting this all, what you will do is you will just try to import it inside the app.js and see if that's working correctly or not. So let me just do that first. Of course we will not do it like that in the final, like when we reach the final destination. So let me import it. The very first things that we'll import it. So import button, not this one, from components and button. So basically it's like that. When I save it, this looks something like this, but we have not given anything to it right now. So we will style this button, but before styling we will give the basic structure to the button. So inside this return, actually we don't need a div, we'll directly give the button. So that will be button, basic HTML button, and inside of this we'll type anything like the short break. Okay, obviously this will not be the final thing because this is right now the static thing, and we will make things dynamic and we will make use of this component multiple times. So we will not need a static value because that will not look good. So let me just save it and I've already imported it inside the app.js, I guess. Yeah, so short break is there. Now let me just see in the browser. Let me see if the browser is server is running. Yeah, server is up and running, and I can go to my browser. So you can see there's a button with short break. Now you could have given any name to it. There's no compulsion. We are just testing it out, like if this button is rendering inside the app.js or not. So that is being rendered, so that is completely fine, no problem with that. And now we will give the main, like we are done with the, we'll put some meat on the bones now. So what we'll do is, first of all, we'll give a class name and then we'll start styling to the application. Now before that, let me give some like dynamic things to it. So we'll create a constant, and inside of this we'll add like what are the things which are dynamic here. So there will be the title. Now this title is the name of the button. We'll have the active class, and we'll have a callback function which will be executed whenever we click that button. So there's a callback. Yeah. Now remember, this all of the functions we are just defining here, and we are just passing the props here. These functions will be created either in app.js or in the global context. We are not going to create these functions here anyhow. Okay, this is just passing the props. Now inside the button, we'll give this as a title and to this like button we'll give a class name as well. So this button, there will be a class name, and that will be active class, basically active class. And next we'll be giving an on click function to it. Now on click is an event listener, basically. So whenever you click on this particular button, so there will be a triggering function which is the on click function, and it will trigger up, and whatever is there inside of that, basically it also expects a function inside it. Now on inside of that, whatever the function is there, so that will be executed as soon as the user clicks this button. So that is what it does. So now let me add an on click. Okay, on click, and inside of this we'll add the function which we just passed as a prop here, that is a callback function. So we'll add the callback, and now we save it, and exactly we'll get errors because uh, right now we are just you know we've created this constant, but we've not passed inside this as a prop. So what can we do is, either we can just write this button here. I hope that works. And it doesn't. Okay, I'm sorry. Now we'll copy all of this, basically not copy, we'll cut it and paste it in here, and we'll destroy this constant button variable. Don't need it anymore. Now we save it. Now it should work. Yeah. What we did is we just created a variable, but right now we can just pass it as a prop inside as a whole. Like it's not so much big that we create another variable and then pass it separately. But basically props are passed like this only. I think that was a wrong way which I stuck in, so there's no problem with that. Now let me see on the browser if there is something. Obviously there isn't much. There's just this simple button and nothing else. So no problem with that. Next, what we'll be doing is we'll be providing the styling to the CSS, which we just the class names. So whatever the class names we give, like the active class and all, so we'll be giving the styling to it inside the index.css file. So that is what we are going to do in the next video, and those css that css file will be importing inside the uh, probably in the app.js, and because that's the root component, so from there the css will be rendered, and the styling will be provided to this particular button component. So see you in the next video. So now we will give the styling to our button component. So let us go to the index.css file. Now let me tell you, this will be the only file which will be responsible for all the global CSS across the application. So we are not going to like make separate or dedicated CSS files for every other component, because it's not a huge and so complex project that we should do that. Of course you can do it, and that's a very good practice if you are creating a little big application which is a little bit complex with like more than five components. If it has more than five components or even five components, you should definitely go ahead and create like dedicated css files for them, like the like dedicated separate styling to them inside the components folder. You can do that and then import it inside the main component. That is the very simple thing, and it's a very good practice, and you should do it. Now coming to our application, we will be doing that inside the index.css file, and right now you can see that's completely empty. And let me minimize the terminal. Yeah, now here we'll start styling our button component. Now let me do it, because this is the button and this does not need any class. This is like uh, native or default name, so we'll give it to button. Inside of this we'll be giving color, and that will be in hex code. That will be ef. Yeah, ef. Like a white color. We'll be having a font size that will be of 0.8 rem. Next we'll be having like the border. We don't want any border, that should be none. We save it, and when we check if there is something happening here, it became too small. Don't worry, we'll give some width to it. So here border is none, border radius we'll give, and that will be of 3 rem, and we'll give the margin, and that will be of 0.2 rem. Okay, next we'll be having the background, just the background, not the background color, and here we'll be giving the color. So that will be 0 C 0 E 1 B will be the hex code. And let me save and see if there is at least something. It is it is, but that's too small. We'll give it a like size. So let's go back here. Let me give some width to it, like the minimum width. So min width, that's the minimum. Min width simply means the minimum width. That will be of 80 pixels. Okay, let me save it and see if there is any changes. Yeah, and I want the cursor to be pointer whenever I like bring my cursor to it. So that's it. They should change to pointer. So let me do it. Cursor pointer. That's it. We save it, and is like now pointer. But this is not we want actually. We want a different thing. So now we'll create some more classes like the button wrapper and all. So the button wrapper. So here we'll be creating the button wrapper, and inside of this there will be a display of flex, and after that there will be the align items. We'll be aligning the items to the center, basically center, and justifying the content to center. Okay, and we'll be giving the padding as 2 rem, and we have just saved it. And now let me see if there is something happening. Not yet, because this class is being created somewhere else, not inside the button component, but that is the active class name actually. So for that, like this is where this button will be imported and wrapped around. So right now we have just imported inside the app.js, but that is not how we will import. There will be a different way with the using context and all. So right now we are just giving the css irrespective of how we'll import it. So let me give that. So button uh, wrapper button dot active, and inside of that there will be a color, and that will be same OC, not OC 0C. Yeah, this will be the color, and next there will be a background color, color, and that will be same. The I think we have used it. No, we have not used it. That will be C9 and CCEA. Similar to white and grayish color, we'll be having a border of 1 pixel. Border 1 pixel solid. Remember, the border is solid. And then we having the other 0C, this one right here. Yeah, that's completely fine because it doesn't matter much. So this looks something like this. 0C, this one, completely fine. And I save it, and of course this will not be rendered on the browser. Now you know the reason why I'm doing this now, only because when we will be creating the active status to the button inside the context, so at that time we don't need to come back again and style the buttons again and again. So that is why I am doing it right now. Now let me just show you a package which we'll be using to get the effects of React, like React count and timer package we'll be using. So this is it. Let me show you. To basically get this UI, we'll be using this package from npm. So you can see here, this is the package we'll be using. This is called React countdown timer, published 2 months ago, and you can see the downloads are like okay. So you can see this is how this works. This is how we'll be looking at the data, and you can install it by just one simple command, that is npm installed react countdown timer. Okay, so this is the command. So let me see the documentation. Because the basic usage like the colors and all of that you can give from here. There is no extra styling from the css for this. The styling is done here only, like basically the colors and all will be done here only. You can see there are many options and many designs which you can choose. So what you can do is you can just copy this particular command from here by clicking on this, and you can see the copy to clipboard message will pop up. And now you can just come here and open up the terminal, and server is running. So let me open another one. Then you need to go to the project folder where your project is there. So for me it's project and then this Pomodoro. You can check it also by the ls command. Now what you will do is you will paste that particular command which you copied from there, and you can see this is npm I for install. You can write install or you can write I, both will do the same job. So install react countdown timer, and that's it. So once you hit enter, it will install this package on your project. Now I have already done it, so I not do that again. It will just take like 2 to 3 seconds or maybe just 5 seconds, and that will be installed. And you can see there is like not a much size of it. It's just 72 kb, so there's not like so bulky package. So that is what, just install this, and then we will do the next of the things, and we will meet in the next video where we'll be making use of this particular react countdown timer, and we'll be implementing that to our project. So this is like a very easy thing to do, but you need to understand like the basics and all, and how to configure and how to use that in our website. Otherwise that could have been done using css and javascript, but the package has made our work so much easier. So see you in the next video. So now that you have installed the package, let's go ahead and make use of it. So let me clear this up. And do we have another terminal? No, only one. I think I closed the server one. So let me just start it. npm start. Okay, we don't need it. We'll start it when we want it. Now we will create another component that will be set Pomodoro. So that will be creating inside the components folder. So it will be set pomodoro.js, and that is it. So I guess I have typed the wrong spelling. Typos are the worst enemies of developers and programmers. Set Pomodoro. Yeah. Now we'll grab the boilerplate code using our lovely extension. So that will be RFCE, and we got the code. Now we will create the basic structure first, then we'll give the styling, and then we will give the functionality using JavaScript. Simple and efficient rule which you should follow while developing a web app. Now inside this div I will be giving the class name also in line, and then going according to that. Let's do it. So we'll give a class name first, and for this the class name would be form container. Form, because this is the page where we will be giving. Oh, why did not it work? Form. Why my auto input isn't working? That's the problem. What is the problem? Is this the problem? So it will be form container. Yeah, now it worked. Okay, now inside of this we'll have a form. Now let me give a form, forum not form. So action and all we'll not give anything right now. We'll just provide a basic form. So inside of this, inside the form, we'll create the handle, submit and all, but right now let us just give the basic structure. So now we'll have another div, so that will be the input wrapper. Input wrapper. and boom, we have the div. Now this is a really efficient way of writing the divs with the classes. You can just provide us a question mark, and then you can just provide any string here, and that string will be given as a class name to that particular div. Okay, so this is the like cool feature of VS Code. Now after the div input wrapper, we have given the div as input wrapper. So what will be inside this? Of course there will be input, because we have given input wrapper. So we'll be having input inside this. Now input type would be number, not text. Remember this, you need to remember. Input type would be number, and there would be name would be work. This is for the work. And next we'll be having break for the break, but before that we will have the on change also and the value also, but we will give that once we give JavaScript to it. Okay, and let me give a class name also to this. Class name as input, and let me just copy this same thing 3 times. So do you know the shortcut? Let me tell you, that is Shift Alt and down arrow key. That will be copied 3 times. Now let me change the names. So for the second one, that would be a short break. Short break. Third one would be long break. And the values and all, we will be giving that in a moment. Right now we have just given this the basic input. Now we will have a button after this div. We'll have a button, and we will give a type to this button, and that will be submit button. And inside this we will give a text, so that will be set timer. And till now we save it. Now we will give the styling to it, because that is how it will look good, and that is what we wanted. So apart from that, after this function there will be the JavaScript. Basically there will all be the function which are responsible whenever this thing triggers up. So all of that will be there. So let us give some styling. Now we have two classes here, the one, like three basically: from container, the input wrapper, and then the input. So that is what we'll do inside the index.css. So after the button wrapper and button active, we'll give form container. So dot form container, and inside the form container we'll give the text align center. That is what that is the only thing which we want to give to the form container. Next we'll give to the input wrapper, and inside of this we'll give the margin. That would be a 1.5 rems. And next we'll give now the styling to the input wrapper input component, like the input which is there inside the input wrapper. Now we'll be giving the styling to this, because that is the main thing. Now let me start. First of all, we'll type it, the input wrapper input wrapper input, and there will be a height. First thing, there will be a height, so 30 pixel, and next there will be a width, and that width would be also 30 pixels, both are equal. And next there will be padding, and that padding would be of 2 rem basically. So after that we'll be giving the background color, and that would be a hex code. So I think I have that hex code. Yeah, this one. Next we'll have a color, and I think I have that also. So that is also hex code, and that is the C9CCEA, exactly this one. And I don't want any border. I don't want that to look like a old age button which we had in the HTML days. So we'll give a border as none, border none, and after that there will be the border radius to make it the round button. So border radius will be 50% because we want to make it round. So 50%, and after that there would be the margin right, and that would be 0.3 rems, 0.3 rem. And there will be we want the text to be aligned as center, so we will add the text aligned center property here. And there are two basically. There is one is justify content center and text align center, so you need to uh, understand the difference in both of them. So text align center, what it does is that it will align everything which is there in that line in the in the one line and in the center. That has nothing to do with bringing everything in the center of the screen. No, that is aligning the items, sorry. And justify content center brings everything in the center. Like if you give CSS property of justify content center to a div, so whatever is there inside that div, that will be in the center, that will become in the center. So that is all it is there. So after the margin right, we'll give the text line, and that is center. Like all the buttons will be in the center with the help of this. Next we'll be having the font size that will be 14 pt. Yeah, this one. Now I think this is it for our input component, and we in the input wrapper we have given the basic structure, we have given the CSS. Now what we'll do is we'll give the functionality using JavaScript to that particular like component. So we'll go to the index, we'll go to the set pomodoro.js, and we'll do that. So see you in the next video. Okay, so now let's go ahead and give some functionality to the close the button, the set pomodoro. Let me save this CSS, and I come here, and now I will be adding some functionality here. So after the set pomodoro, everything will go on after the set pomodoro. So here, so the very first thing is we will import some things. So what we'll be importing is the use state hooks. The very first thing is we'll be importing the use state hook and the use context hook, and after that we will be moving further. So let me do that. So here you can import it in one line. You can write react.useState while defining, that is also perfect, but just define once, like import once and then forget. That is the best thing. Why to write again and again? Use context and use state. Okay, the import part is done. Now what we'll do is we'll create a hook. Right after the function, we'll create a hook. It will be const, and let me explain you the structure of the useState hook. So here there is a variable. So for example, I'm creating a new timer variable here, and here there is a function which is responsible to change that variable. So here it will be set new timer, and this will be equal to useState, and inside of this I will be having some initial values to this particular object. Now, how we know this is an object? Like whatever we provide inside this useState, this here, while initializing, if I provide here true or false, that will be a boolean. If I provide here quotations, then it will be a string. If I provide here square brackets, then it would be an array. If I provide here curly braces, then it would be an object. So you don't need to like define it separately anywhere else. You can just provide that particular symbol that corresponds to that particular data type, then it would be defined automatically. You don't need to work extra work to define that thing. Okay, so now I have done a curly braces here. That means this is an object. Simple. Okay, so now let me give some initial value, initial thing to this object. So the first one would be work, and not worker, it will be just work, and we'll give a value of 0.2 in the beginning. That then we'll have the short break. For it there will be 0.1, and then it will be long. For it will be 0.5. Next will be active. Now what is active? Like when we go to the page and we see, so what should be the active tab opened? By default that will be work. So in the, it's a string. Oh, I forgot to put comma here. I put semicolon or semicolon instead of comma, so that should not be done, otherwise it will throw an error. Okay, I think we are done with this. Now we will create another constant, then we will be getting it from another, like we'll be creating a global context, and with the help of that global context we'll be creating this further. So what will be the global context? It will be settings context. It will be called as settings context, which will be creating in a minute. But let us just do some things till then. So const, and that we update and execute, and this is equal to use context, and inside of this there would be settings context. So now after the settings context we'll create a constant. Now this context will be responsible for handling the changes in the input, as simple as that. Like whenever the user types anything inside the input field, so this handle change will be responsible for that. So const handle change, that will be input, and inside of this there would be what we want to create. Now there would be const, and then the name and the value. This is a completely random thing, and we will give input dot target. Simple. Now there will be a switch statement. Oh, oops. After that we will be having a switch statement. Now what is this switch statement doing here? This will be specifying the action of the buttons, like when it's work, what should be the functionality, what should be the variable that is restarting, when it is break, like which break, long break, short break. According to that, this will be functioning. So inside the switch, we'll have the name. Name is the thing that will be like varying. So curly braces, and inside of here, we will add the case. Now, in like remember, like just imagine there's the work. So for that, what we need to do? Oh man, yeah. Now for work, what we need to do is we need to set the new timer. Set new timer, and inside of this, we'll use the spread operator. That will be the new timer. Oh man. And now, so inside the this set new timer, there are so many of the elements inside this object. So we'll be handling only this work one when it's the work case. Then we have the short. Then we have the long. Then we have the active is the default. That is for sure. So now we will type further. So we'll be doing this work parse int, and we'll give the value. So next we'll be creating another case. This was for the work case. Now after that we'll be giving the break statement. Now break, and after the break we'll be giving another case. So that is the short break. Case short break. Set new timer, and then again we'll use the spread operator. That will be new timer, and then we'll give this for the short one. So short percent, and there will be a value. Okay, so again we will give a break after this. Case is the long break, and this will be applicable for set new timer, and this will be applicable for new timer and long, basically the long parse int, and we'll pass the value inside. After that, a break, normal break statement, and we save it. So till now we have given the functionality to like which tab we are switching, and according to which switch tab the function will be executed. Now we'll provide a handle submit, like when we press the button and set timer button, so what it will be doing. So for that we'll be providing some things now. So let's do it. So after the break and after this all is done, we'll create another function that will be const handle submit, and that will be, we will be creating a fat arrow function now for this. So there would be a fat arrow function and basic function. Now here we will write a code. Now basically what is the general natural behavior of a form, if you know. in HTML also. What it does is that whenever we submit a form, so its natural tendency is to refresh the entire page. That's it. That's the basic functionality of any form. Like whenever we, like for example, we provided in the settings tab, we went and we gave the timer and we set the timer, so it will refresh the page. But that's not what we want. We don't want the page to refresh. So for that, we will make use of this very nice and useful JavaScript property. So we'll pass e or event here, and here after this we'll type e dot prevent default. That's it. And after this we'll update execute, and we'll pass new timer inside this. So that is it. So this will prevent it from prevent it from the reloading, and then it will be done. Now we'll make use of all of this function inside this, so we'll do that in the next video. Now let's come down and tie up all these functions to all the respective components, elements basically. So for example, this day form and all. So for this form we will have the on submit, and there will be some other cases also. So for this form we'll be having a value that is the no validate, so that will be creating inside the settings, and no validate, and here it would be on submit, on submit, and inside this there will be the function which we just created, this the on submit function. So inside the submit there will be the handle submit. No man, handle submit. Okay, I guess that is enough. Yeah, handle submit. Now coming to this div input wrapper, very good. But inside the input elements there would be a bunch of things that we need to change, actually add, not change. So inside the input there would be this class name as input, type as number, and name as work. Okay, so far so good. But now we would add two more things to this. So that will be the on change, like on change, and there will be a function that will be the handle change. Basically I can write this in all of the three components, right? So let me try to do it. So I will press alt, and you can see I can write simultaneously in all of the three components, elements, sorry. So here I'll write on change, on change, and this is equal to, and the curly braces, handle change, handle change. Simple. This I have done using the alt button, alt key on the keyboard. So just press alt key and like move your cursor and select the area where you want to write like this. Okay, so on change, handle change, on change, handle change, on change, handle change. Simple. Now we will give the value to each and every input, which it should be like storing. Okay, so here there will be a value equal to new timer dot work, not arc, work. Value is equal to new timer dot work. Same here also, value is equal to new timer dot short. Next, inside of this there would be a value is equal to new timer dot long. Simple. simple. And this button is there. Type is submit and set timer. I think our set Pomodoro component is 100% completed, I guess. We have also done the styling part, and we have given everything like the functionality using JavaScript and the hooks and all. So next we will move on to, okay, so next we'll create the countdown animation component. So for that, let us go to the components folder, and here we'll create the countdown animation component. So inside this countdown animation, so let us do that. Countdown animation component. So we'll create a file here inside the components. So that will be count down animation.js. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll import that boilerplate code using our extension. So Control Shift P, snippet search RFCE. Simple. Now we will import some things. Now after this, after the React import, we'll import the very first thing is the use context. Use context and from React. And next we will be importing something from the package we installed, the React. Remember the React countdown timer package we installed from the npm. So that is going to play a main role here. So that is the whole picture, because that is responsible for the countdown and all. So let us do that. So let us first import it. So we'll import that, like import countdown and circle timer, something like this. Count, spelling is not correct. Yeah, now it's perfect. Countdown circle timer from React. Countdown, yeah, this one. Import countdown circle timer from React countdown circle timer. That's it. Now what we'll do is we'll pass some props inside this, so that we make use of those props inside the app.js. So let me pass some props inside the function. So inside this object there will be key, there will be timer, there would be animate, there would be the children, and I think that's it. Key, timer, animate, and children. I think that's it. Okay, next. After this there would be the const, and inside this there will be the stop animate, and this we will be making use from the use context, but from the settings context which we are going to build after this. So use context, and inside this we will pass the settings context. Let me import it also, although we have not yet created it, but we'll import it. So import settings context from we'll create a folder here and naming as context, and after that we'll be creating this file. So we'll be creating settings context. So we'll do it in a minute. Okay, so after this, inside the return we'll remove this div, and we'll use the component, this countdown circle timer component also. So let me just copy this, and inside this return, after this, okay, so this is it. We will close this, and it will give us the closing tag. But inside the opening tag, we will have a lot of things. So the very first thing is the key. Key is equal to key. Next, we will be having a is playing function. Now, is playing, is it true or false? So that is the animate. Animate. Next, we will be having the duration, like how much time it should be like animated. So duration is equal to timer into 60. Timer into 60. Next, we'll be having the colors. Colors, and for the colors, that should be like this. There is an array basically, and let me just see what are the colors. So basically, it's the same, and inside of the main array there are sub arrays. So the first one is as this is, so that will be fe6f and 68, and then you can give a comma and then you can write 0.33. Okay, now we'll copy it 3 times because this is the only same thing. So we'll give a comma here, we'll paste, we'll give a comma and we'll paste, and we will give another comma just to make sure that is right. Okay, so now we will like close this. Okay, it's automatically closed, and after that we will be giving the stroke width. Okay, so what is the stroke width? I will explain you after this when we'll be reading the documentation. So we'll write the stroke width, and that will be equal to 6. After that we'll be having the size, and the size is equal to 220. Next we'll be having the trail color. Trail color, which is also equal to this hex code, which is 151 and 932 32 151932. Now on complete we will have a function like which will be calling on complete. On complete we have a function which will accept a function. So there would be this function which will expect a function. Now inside of this there will be stop animate. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. So the stop animate would be there inside of this, and between this there would be the children. Whatever is there, that will come here. So that will be the children in the lowercase children, and we save it. So that looks something like this. So right now we have not created this settings. Okay, there's a typo. Settings. Disable. So this was it. Now we will go to the documentation and see what we have actually done. So that we'll be doing in the next video. Okay, so now let us set up the most important thing, which is the global context. So that is very important, and that will be handling all of our context and all. So for that I will have to create a folder inside the source folder. So that will be known as the context, and inside the context I will create a file which will be named as settings context.js. Settings context.js. So let me grab the boilerplate code first with this snippet search. So I will type RFCE. Now this is the React functional component with an export. So the very first thing which we'll do is we'll import the hooks from the React.js. So I will import the use state hook and the use context hook, because those are the mainly two hooks which you are going to use. So let me import them. So the very first is the use state hook, and next we'll be using the use, maybe the create context, because we are going to create the context use, because the use context hook is used when we are making use of the context in any other component. But here what we are doing is we are creating the context, so we'll write the create context. So create context, and this will be from React. Yeah, that's all. So now let us create the functions and create the context. So the first one was the user state, second was the create context, which we imported from the React. Now what we'll do is we'll export the settings context. So let us do the export const. Actually, what we could have done now, we could have imported the React arrow function, because I think that would be better if we have done that, but no worries, we will continue. So export const, and that will be the settings context, and that will be equal to the create context. And now our global context has been created, which is named as the settings context. Okay, that is good. Next, the function here is a provider, so we'll add the word provider after this, provider, because this will be providing the value to other components, the global values to other components. So we'll be passing some props here, and the word props itself will be passed here as a props, so props. And after that, inside of this, we will be creating some hooks. Now there will be const, and there will be a hook, that is the Pomodoro, and we will be set Pomodoro, and this will be equal to the use state. The initial value would be 0. Now what does this imply? If we have given the initial value as 0, so that simply means the data type is integer. Simple. No defining other ways, just type the initial value, what is the data type in that form, and it will be adapting that particular data type. Next, const, we will be giving the executing and set executing. This is the function responsible for altering that particular variable. And now we'll be giving the use state, and now I will give the data type or the initial value. Now here I have given curly braces, that simply means that this variable is an object. Simple. Okay, next we'll be giving another thing, so that will be const start animate. Now start animate is a variable. Next we will be giving a function to set this particular variable, so set start animate, and this will be equal to use state, and inside of this I will give the initial value. Now initial value I have given as false. Now what does this mean? Initial value is false. That simply means that this is a boolean type. Okay, you don't need to write another statement defining the variable. This is a string, boolean, object, or array. Simply you can just give the initial value in that form. Now we'll write another function. This will be to set the current timer. So set current timer, and there will be an argument active state. So inside of this, we will be calling a function that is the update execute. Update execute, which we just which we'll be creating. So that will be update execute. Update execute. Cool. And inside of this, we'll be passing a spread operator of the executing. Yeah, this one. uh, Basically, spread operator, what it does, it like takes everything one by one and renders it. So that is it. So now we'll be giving the active, and this will be the active state. Active state. Okay. And after this, we give a semicolon, and then we will be setting the timer. Set timer, and set timer time basically. And we will be giving an arguments inside this. There would be executing. Yep, simple. So next we will be giving a function to start the animation. So that function will be solely responsible for starting the animation. So let us give that. So let me provide a comment. Start animation function. Yeah. So there would be function start timer. Now all of these functions which we have done here, so that will be creating one by one. So inside of this, there is something called as set start animation. Set start animate, and that will be set to true because the animation has been started, the timer has been started, so that start animation will be set to true. Okay. Next we'll be setting the function to pause the animation. So this was for the start. Now this is for the pause. So pause animation function. Okay. Next, let's create a function for this function. Pause animation or pause timer. Okay. So inside the pause timer, we'll set the set start animation to false. Set start animate to false because now the timer has been stopped, so that the set start animate would be set to false. Simple, isn't it? Next, to pause the counter. This was to pause the like the animation, but to pause the counter, there is another function which we are going to create. So let us do that. So pass time to counter, and after this we will create a const and the children. Now remember which children is this, we passed it inside here, this one. This is what we are creating here. Okay. So const children, and this is equal to the remaining time. I think I made a typo. Yes, remaining time as an argument. This is an object, and inside of this there will be the const minutes, which is equal to math.floor and the remaining time by 60. Remaining time by 60. Okay. Next we'll be having the const seconds is equal to remaining time modulus of 60. Cool. I think that's so cool. Okay, now next we'll return something. Now what we'll return? We'll return minutes as well as we'll return the seconds. So after this we'll return this. Return, and inside of this there is minutes, and after that there would be the seconds. So this was in the curly braces. Okay, so seconds, and that's it. We'll provide a semicolon here, and next we'll be creating the clear session storage, like to clear the session and the clear the storage. So that function is responsible for clearing the storage in the session, so that will be creating in the next video. Okay, so now we'll create the clear session storage function, which will be clearing the session once we refresh and all. So after the pass time counter is over, so let me see where it's getting over. So after this I'll add a comment of clear storage, clear session storage, basically session storage, clear session storage, and I made a typo. After that, what I'll do is I'll set the executing function inside the settings button. Now let me see, like settings button, I'll create a constant settings and btn, and I'll give a equal to sign, and I'll give the parenthesis, and after that I'll give this. There will be set executing, and inside of this we'll pass a object, sorry, not a function, object, an empty object, and then set Pomodoro to 0. Set Pomodoro to 0. Okay, and next we'll update the execute. So for that we'll create a function that will be called as const update execute, and there we will be a function. Inside of that there will be an argument which will be update execute, not this, updated settings, and here is a fat arrow function, and inside of this there will be set executing, and here will be updated settings. And after the updated settings, I guess there's a typo, settings, updated settings, and after the updated settings there will be the set timer time, and inside of this we'll be passing the same thing, updated settings. So far so good. And after that there will be a function to set the timer time. Now whatever we did inside the, like this current timer time, and inside of the set Pomodoro also, we created a switch. Now we have to create a switch, something like this only after this update execute. So let us do that. So there will be the function which will be set timer time. So this, the function is created here, originality of this function is here. So evaluate, and this will be equal to, and inside of this there will be a switch statement, switch, here will be evaluate dot active. Now what is active? The active class which is there, so that will be decided on the basis of this. So there will be a case, of course, work, and there that would be the set Pomodoro, and inside of this there will be evaluate dot work, not active, and after this there will be a break statement. Cool. another case which will be known as short. So this is for the short break. Okay, so for the short there will be the set Pomodoro, and inside of this there will be evaluate dot short. Cool. And of course a break statement. And another case, that case would be long, and not the semicolon, it's just a colon, and then the set Pomodoro would be evaluate dot long. Of course, break statement. So much of repeated code going on here. A default statement. Of course, if there's a switch statement, there will be a default statement. So set Pomodoro, and we will pass 0 here. Okay, that's cool. And then we will give the break here. So this is what we did, and after that we will be giving a semicolon here, and now there will be a function to stop the animation. So that will be called as stop animate. There will be a function which will be called as stop animate. So function stop animate, and here it will be set start animate to false, because we are setting the stop animate. So once the animation is stopped, we have to set the start animate to false, and whenever it becomes true, the animation will be started again. Simple, right? Now let me see a quick overview about what we just did. So we started from the clear session storage here, and we made a function to clear the session storage. Then we update when we created the update execute. So remember, this update execute is being used over and over in the above functions, but the originality is here. It is the origin of the function is here. Okay, and then we have the set timer time and another things. So here is the stop animate, but it has not yet been used anywhere. That's why you can see the color is different. Okay, so next in the return we will have these settings context.provider. So no div, nothing. Okay, so there will be settings context.provider, and yeah, that's it. So inside of this, what we'll do, we'll provide a value, and this is equal to same all of the variables here: Pomodoro, executing, update execute. Next we'll have the start animate. Next we'll be having the start timer, and after that we'll be having the pause timer, and then we'll be having the children. Like, these are the values which will be set globally, and any component can make use of it, which is reporting to the app.js. Simple. So settings button, this one, and next there will be the set current timer, and after that there would be the stop animate. Cool. And inside of this, like here, there would be some props. There will be props dot children, and then I save it. Okay, our code is refactored with a very good indentation and all, and this is done using the extension which we use, that is called the prettier. So what it does, it is whenever we save the changes, so it automatically refactors the code, and on every save, the indentation and everything, the code gets refactored and things start to look little beautiful. So set current timer is also there. Now everything is there inside the settings context. So let us take a quick overview over here. So stop animate is there, set current timer, where is this? I think yeah, set current timer is here, and I think that has not been closed properly or what. That is going till here. Okay, but I don't think it should come till here, only should be till here. So set current timer should be closed right, set current timer should be closed right after here, and this is not valid basically. Okay, and there are some other things too which needs to be changed, like this is opening and closing here, this is here, this is here. Cool. The children pause, the set start timer and the update execute, and this comes inside this. Okay, that sounds good. And start and mid and pomodoro, these are not the functions. Okay, so I think we are done for the settings context. Now next what we'll be doing is we'll grabbing all of the data, the global context, the components and everything inside the app.js. And once we do it, I think that is the last step and our app will be ready to go. And we will also need to do some styling, like some styling is left now that we'll do. And that's it, our app is just about to complete. So see you in the next video. Okay, now let's go to the app.js and configure all of the things, all of the components, and let us grab the global context inside it, and let us grab all the components and configure all of them according to our application. So let us go to app.js, and here we are in the app.js. Now what we'll do is first let us start importing whatever we need. So the very first thing we'll do is we'll import the use context and use effect hook. Use effect and use context. Yeah. And now we'll import all of the components as well. So buttons is already imported, the button, and we'll import the import countdown animation from countdown animation. Next we'll be importing the set pomodoro from the set pomodoro component. Okay, and after this we will be importing the settings context from the global context, which is inside the context folder. So import settings context from context and the settings context. Cool. So that is what we actually wanted to do. Next, inside the app function, we will create all of the JavaScript code which we need here. So like the use effect and the use context and everything like that. Okay, so let me create a const. Inside of this there will be all of it, like the Pomodoro and spelling mistake Pomodoro, and there will be executing start animate, there will be the children, there will be the start timer, and there will be the pause timer, there will be the update execute, there will be the set current timer set current timer and the settings button. The settings btn. Now this will be equal to the global context, equal to use context, and inside of this the settings context, this one. Cool. We save it to make it refactored. Okay, after that we'll be making use of the use effect hook, and let me first type it out and then I'll explain what is the use effect hook. And this expects a function basically. So inside of this, what we'll do is update this one, update execute, and inside of this we'll type executing, and now the dependency array will be containing two variables, that is the executing and the next is the start animation or animate. Now let me explain you what is the use context hook and what does it basically do. Use effect hook, sorry. Now use effect hook is used to make the function execute according to a proper condition. Like inside of this we write the function and it also has a cleanup function to just clean up the previous one. Now inside of this we call a function, or we can also write the function. So here I've called a function. Now what it will do is it will execute this function. Now how many times or at what point of time this function needs to be executed? Now what is the condition for this to be executed? What is the time? So this is defined by this particular dependency array. Now whatever is the variable inside this, either it is 1 2 3, like no matter how many are there, doesn't matter. So the execution of this function depends on the changes happening in this particular variable or these particular variables. So whenever these two variables will change, this function will be executed, as simple as that. Now what if we left this dependency array empty? So that simply means that this function needs to be executed only on the the refreshing of the page, when the page is being rendered. That time, when the user opens the website for the very first time, that time this should be executed, and then it should not be executed. So this means when the dependency array is empty. Okay, so leave it now. Hope you understood. Let's come to the return. So inside the return, let me first delete everything and write things from scratch. So here I will write a div with a class name of container. Cool. So inside this container div there will be an h1 tag. Inside this we'll be writing the Pomodoro. Cool. And after that there will be the small tag, because we want to write this text in a small. So be productive the right way. After the small, we'll have a condition like Pomodoro, not the big one, Pomodoro. Now if this is true, not true, equal to 0, then what will happen? So this question mark, and after that the condition, what will happen. So inside of here we'll write the, we'll call this component, that is the set Pomodoro. So this component is called. Now what if this is not true? What if this is false? So after this we'll pass a comma colon, sorry, not a comma, and inside of this we'll write a div. So basically inside this div there will be a unordered list. Okay, so inside this div there will be an unordered list with the class name of, we'll give the class name like as we go, labels. So inside this unordered list there is an li, and inside the li there's a button. Which button? Which we have imported, which we have already created inside the component. This is not the normal HTML button or not another button. This is the component. This is the button component which we created right here. This one, and we also imported here. You can see this. This one is this button component. So now inside the button there will be a title. Like we are giving the values to the props, nothing else. Work. Next we'll be giving the active class, and that is equal to executing dot active equal to work, and that will be the active label, or undefined. That's not true, this is undefined. Now after we finish with this, we will add a callback function. So this is the callback, and it's equal to this for the JavaScript, and fat arrow function. So inside this there will be set current timer to work, set current timer, and we'll pass inside this a string that is work. Okay, cool. Let me refactor this code. So after this li we will have another li, and that will be for the short. So we can basically just copy this li and paste it down here. So we will make some changes. The title will be short break, and this will be short active label undefined, and here it will be short. Okay, so next we'll be having the list for the long one. Okay, so this one is done. Let me copy this, and after this we'll be having for the long break. So we'll write here whatever we are doing, we will write here. So we'll write, instead of short, just we'll do long, and here it will be long, and active label same undefined, callback function, and inside this there will be long. Okay, so long. Now after the list is over, after the unordered list is over, there will be a button. Now that is for the settings, to open up the settings. Okay, so we'll call the button component, obviously. So we'll call the button, and inside this there will be a title which will be equal to settings, and there's a callback, and this callback will be for the settings button, this one right here. Okay, next we will be having a div tag with a class name of timer container. So we will create that single div tag. So maybe we can do that in the next video. Okay, so after the button we will have a div now with the class name of the timer container. What's the class name? It's the timer container. So inside this div there would be the like component which is responsible to show the timer. So there is another div which will be having a class name of timer wrapper. Timer wrapper. Okay, so inside this wrapper we will have the countdown animation component. Okay, so let's call that. So countdown animation. Now this is a component. Now all of the props which we created in here, let me show you. Like these props, now they are asking for a value, so those values will be provided in the app.js. Okay, so here for the key we will be giving the Pomodoro, and for the timer also same, and for the animate there will be the start animate. Now for the like this requires a closing tag as well, so we will provide it a closing tag. Cool. Now inside of this there will be the children, and we'll pass it here, children. Yeah, so after this like both the divs will be closed, and there will be the last div after this all happened. So there will be a last div which will be having a class name of button wrapper. Button, remember we already gave a styling for this in the first, I think in the second or third video we gave the styling for this particular div, and here we'll be having the button component. And so now we'll be providing the title which is equal to start. After that there will be the active class, and this is equal to, like this should not be start animate. If it is not, then it should be active, and otherwise this should be undefined. Okay, undefined, and the button tag will close. Now again we'll do the same thing for the pause. This was for the start, right? We'll be having for the pause. Okay, so here we'll be having a title, and that is equal to pause, and an active class the start animate, and if this is true then let it set to the active. Cool, and otherwise this will be undefined, right? After that we'll be having the callback function, and which we forgot in our upper button. So here we'll be having that callback, and inside this we'll be passing the pause timer. Exactly, but here we'll be passing the start timer callback, and it will be the start timer. Now I hope this is clear, and now we should have the closing of the all three divs, which is there. That's a very good thing. Code is refactored. Now let us provide a little bit of styling which was left. So let me go to the index.css, and there is some little styling, so that I'll just copy paste because that is the similar one. So let me just do that in a second. We'll go to index.css. So this was the styling which I did, like the global styling for the font and all, and the font family and everything else. So that we just did. Now let me save it, and let me just see on the browser if things are going well. So I'll open up the terminal. It's opening, and I'll go to the folder where my project is residing, Pomodoro, and I'll run npm start. Now this will start up a server on a port 3000 on the localhost, and we will be able to see the changes on the browser. So we are seeing an error because we did not import the context in here from the settings context. Let me do that. Import settings context from uh, context and the settings context. Let me save it. We are having an error on the settings context on the line number 6. Okay, there's a spelling mistake of use state. Okay, we just debugged it. I think things are working now perfectly. Let me go to the browser and check now if it is there or not. Now when I try to go to the browser, let me see. Yes, so it is being rendered, but let me check if that works properly. So that is our input page where we have to give the input, like what is the amount of time. So let me just leave it as it is. So it should show me the default. Yes, the default was 12 seconds. Now when I start the timer, it should start. And yes, boom guys, it is working properly. The timer is started. Let me try to pause it. Yes, it is working. And let me start it again. Yes, it works fine. Let it reach to 0 and let's see what happens. And yeah, it is working as expected. Now let me see the breaks one, the short break. We set it to 0.6. That is the 6 seconds. So let me start. And yes, that is also working fine. Let me see the long break. This for the 30 seconds, and that also works fine. Let me try to pause it, start, and that is working fine. And now let us try to go to the settings and give the, I paused it, and let me try to go to settings and give the like custom time. So let me give some custom like 2 minutes, and let me try to set the timer 2 minutes. Let me try to set and start. Yeah, it already started. So that means we have successfully created our Pomodoro application, and the project is successfully created and it's working perfectly fine. So let me try to make it 1 minute, 1 minute, and start the timer. Yeah, that works perfectly fine. So that is it for the project, guys. I hope you have learned a lot. We made use of extensively, we made use of the global context and used it in the app.js. We made use of many different functions. I know this was a little bit complicated, but and if you think that you did not understand properly or you did not understand at all, please go through the videos again. You will connect the dots, because that is how things work. And one piece of advice I would like to give you: whenever you're watching any tutorial or any kind of like a tutorial video or chapter which is there like in a video form, or any video course, so what you need to do is first you need to watch it like a movie. You don't have to touch the keyboard, you don't have to write any code. So then you just think that okay, this is the introduction video, and this is just I have to just see to get the introduction to the topic and whatever is being taught, so that you get familiar with the terms, what is the terms, what is the function. Basically you will get familiar with the plot of the project and with the plot of the technology which is being used. So in the first time, like, don't stress too much, just watch it as a like a movie kind of thing. Just try to understand what is happening. Don't try to do it on yourself on the very first time. Just try to understand it, like what is happening, why this is doing, what will happen next, and try to use your brain and try to understand the plot. That's it. And in the next turn, when you go through that course again, that time you need to pause the video and type the code yourself, run it, and see. That time you need to do. So most of the people, they like get frustrated because they watch it for 1 minute, they pause it, and they try to do it. No, first you need to understand the plot of the application and the technology which is being used. So that is why this is really important. So if anyone has just watched it for the first time, and if you are feeling that I did not understand anything, so please now watch it once, or you have already watched, now go through it once again and now try to code. Don't try to code in the very first time when you just see anything. Oh, you just jump in the code editor and you start typing. No, now you need to do it in the second time. So that is it for the project, guys. I hope you have enjoyed a lot. So keep learning, and thank you.